Yeah, Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Waharaka Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who read and teach well, the Akims and the Iwas and Bywers and those pushing videos in truth, sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. Now, this video here is on another brother's channel, Zion Lex. But what's been happening, and I've seen various posts of where people who's over in Ukraine are being restricted from getting on the trains to leave out. And these things ain't in the main media. You're only seeing these things on the social media. It's not in the main news and them kind of things. And the other day, me and the brothers was in Clapham Junction over in London, and we had this Jake who was into Islam, and his whole attitude is that when it came to these other nations being judged by the Most High for the wrongs that they've done, he wasn't really with that. Yeah. And reason being is that these other nations, they've given us this spirit of love, love, love. Christianity, it's love your neighbors as yourself, but then in the meantime you're hating your own people. And we can see that these other nations, they don't really love us. And this is just a video I want to play quickly just to show what's happening, because these things ain't on the main media, and our people need to understand that these other nations don't really like us. So check this out.
War has arrived in Ukraine and civilians are running for their lives. Traditional evacuation protocol during wartime prioritizes women, children, and the elderly.
Man, these people left without taking the blacks.
But as Russia continues its advance in Ukraine, racism is not far behind. Twitter, where many African students in Ukraine have been documenting their journey westwards, has been awash with videos and tweets of reported racism.
They're pushing her, they're not letting her go, Is it right?
In this video, a black woman is seen being denied boarding onto a train believed to be evacuating civilians in Ukraine away from the advance of Russia from the east. No verbal reason is given for the denial, but moments later, a white woman is allowed to board the same train. This Twitter user, named Inze Kiev, believed to be a Nigerian international student, says priority boarding on trains along racial lines is common. His Twitter feed has documented his journey from Ukraine onwards to Poland. According to his accounts, the crowds of people who have braved cold weather, queues, and journeys full of fear to make it to Ukraine's border with Poland have been racially discriminated against in a series of events, which include a van being driven into the direction of the crowd and a gun being drawn on them.
We are students! We are dying! We are dying of cold! We are dying of cold! Everybody go down!
However, on the Poland side of the border, there's been a suggested decline in reports of racism from civilians.
These are the black community. We are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates.
But it is important to note that complaints are predominantly from civilians still in Ukraine. Mainstream media has also shown itself to be an example of the role race and unconscious racism plays in the coverage of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the racialized depictions of the victims therein.
It's really emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles.
But this isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relative.
Anyway, you get the gist of what's going on. It's like the mainstream, they're not reporting what is happening to our people, but it's nothing to, we shouldn't be surprised at this. This is Ezekiel 35:5 it says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time that their iniquity, their calamity, slacker, in the time by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end." And our punishment for the wrongs that we've done is coming to an end. But the issue that Esau, or the most I should say, Slakia, as with Esau and these other nations, is that they've been forwarding the affliction. Now, these things ain't coming out on the mainstream media. They're showing you, oh, Ukraine. One of the things I saw was this Ukraine woman, and all teary-eyed, and everyone's showing sympathy for her. But the fact that they're only letting on Edomites and their children and restricting our people from getting on the train to leave, these things ain't coming out in the mainstream media. And it's nothing that we should be surprised about, but our people still have this thing in their heart where they want to love everyone and they don't want no justice. And the Most High is going to bring justice for these injustices that is happening amongst our people. It's like the other day, we was talking to a Muslim, Jake, and he didn't want no justice for the things that was happening. Salakia, one sec. Yeah, Salakia, I'm in a communal space. But as I was saying, I was chatting to me and my brother was talking to a Muslim, Jake, and when it comes to justice for these other nations, these religions, they've put us in a lost state where we don't want to see justice. We want to forgive everybody, yet still, when it comes to our own people, we don't want to forgive our own people. And these nations are still, destroying us, doing everything they can to put us in a lower state, to keep us in a lower state, even though our iniquity is coming at an end. And this is why the Most High is going to bring judgment on these other nations. This is Ecclesiastes 12:10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." And this is what we have to realize. We actually have enemies. When you read the curses, it tells you that we're going to have to serve our enemies for the want of all things. It says we're going to go into slavery on ships and be sold to our enemies. But religion, Christianity or Islam, has us believing that we have no enemies. The Most High power loves everyone, and everyone can be forgiven for the wrongs that they've done, and there's no justice. Zechariah 1:15, what does it say? And a lot of this free flow. Zechariah 1:15, it says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease," because these other nations, they're actually at ease, because the Most High has been giving us a period of grace for us to get ourselves together, get our minds right, so that we can repent. Within that grace period, they're still getting away with things, which is atrocious. And they see it now that, the Most High ain't actually going to judge them for what they're doing. So it says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased." Yeah, he was just a little displeased with us. Because this is what he does. Anytime we don't want to listen to him, he puts us under the control of these other nations. If you don't want to listen to me, don't want me ruling over you, well, see how you like it with them ruling over you. But what did they do? And they helped forward the affliction. And these are ways of them forwarding the affliction. There's Russia, invading Ukraine. They're letting their own people, the women and the children, leave, but then they're stopping our women and children from leaving. Yeah? And our people need to stop this love everybody spirit, because everybody don't love you. It's clear. Just open your eyes, man. But the fact is, because some of these things ain't coming up on the media over in the UK, they're starting to reduce or get rid of the restrictions. People believe that things are going back to normal, so they're going back into their own wicked lifestyle. Forgetting that there's judgment actually being perpetrated upon the earth by the Most High is visiting the earth. And it's only a matter of time before things really get really sticky. And what are you going to do in that time? The Most High ain't going to be there protecting you if you're not trying to get yourselves right now. And this is the time when we should be getting ourselves right. But at the same time, the flip side to it is that scriptures have to be fulfilled. Prophecy has to be fulfilled. Because what does it say? This is Matthew, yeah, 24. Oops, that's 34. Matthew, 24 and 39. What did it say? And 37. Matthew 24 and 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. It's the same thing now. Majority of our people ain't really paying attention to what's going on around them. We've been lulled into a deep sleep. Yeah, so when Yahweh Shai return, this is why it's gonna come as a thief in the night, because instead of you, paying heed to the signs that's happening, Second Esdras 9:1, measured out the time diligently. When you see these signs pass, know that the Most High is starting to visit the earth which He made, and that's what's happening. Is visiting the earth that is made, but these videos that brothers are making is really for the elect of our people to keep your faith up, to continue being diligent, to recognize who it is that actually love you and who it is that actually hate you. And even in amongst our own people, those that are meant to be so-called in the truth, there's still many of our people that still have hatred for their own people. And this is why the wilderness is prepared. If you don't want to show love for your brother or sister, you want to exude pride because of the knowledge that you have, or you believe that you're better than those that are still in the world, you don't have no love for them. Like the law says, love your neighbor as yourself. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. It didn't stipulate to say, oh, you should just love or don't hate your brother that's in the truth. It says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. But many of our brothers, in this truth, they not only hate those that are in the world, they hate those that's in the truth. That's, because I don't follow the same body that you're in, or, there might be a variation in our understanding of the scriptures. Our people really need to get ourselves right and see the times that we're in. But this is what's happening, man. In Ukraine, our people are being withheld from getting on the train. And we can't have this love everybody spirit. If you want to be in that love everybody spirit, then, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, man. And those that are joined unto them shall fall by the sword. That's the times that we're in, man. So it's just something short, to let our people know we need to really start fixing up in this truth, watching the walk that we're walking, and knowing who it is that's for you. This is and this is all freehand, so no scriptures pre-prepared. Sirach 6:13. It says, separate thyself from thine enemy and take heed of thy friends. And when it says separate, what does that mean? The scriptures in Leviticus 18:3, learn not the ways of the Egyptians. Proverbs 3:31, envy thou not the oppressor. This is how we separate ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we have to work amongst these other nations, so on and so forth. But that don't mean you have to keep up their feast days. You have to keep up the things that they do. No, come back to the law, statutes, commandment. Come back to faith in your power, Yahweh, the Father and the Son, Yahweh Shai. Do what is written, keep my commandments and live. Faith without works is dead. These are the things that we have to do, and this is how we separate ourselves from these other nations, and this is how we let our light shine, man. But when I saw that video, let me go back there, by the brothers and Lex, And I've seen other videos, but this is a decent one. It says Africans racially discriminated against during the Ukraine/Russia crisis. And these things ain't coming out on the mainstream media. Because why? They want to make out like, yeah, all love and pity for the Ukrainians. But this is that perpetual hatred. Let me get the these nations have to be judged for what they've been doing to us, man. Our people don't really realize that. This is Amos 1:11. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, for free transgression of Edom, and for four," because these Ukrainians, these Russians, they're Edomites at the end of the day. Just different tribes fighting against each other. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, for three transgressions of Edom, and for four, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he has pursued his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity." Look, our people are trying to escape a country that's being invaded, but you're only letting on Edomite women and children and banning our women and children from getting on the train. It says, "And his anger did tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever." Yeah, this is a continuing thing, man. This will only be stopped when Yahushua returns. Until then, we have to put our faith back in Yahushua, keep his commandments, keep the faith, be diligent in our walk, man. Keep your garments clean, because what does Zephaniah 1:8 says? Is gonna destroy all that are clothed in strange apparel. Strange apparel ain't just dealing with the clothes that you got on, the clothes that you're wearing. Strange apparel is your character. If your character ain't right, that looks strange. Yeah? Let me get this. This is Matthew 7. Let me show you something. Matthew 7:21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. And what's the will? Keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. And what's one of those laws? Love for your neighbor as yourself, which is something which is really lacking in Israel. Pride is rising in Israel. Lack of love for your brother and sister in Israel is rising. These are things that will get us lit down in the wilderness. It says, "But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wondrous works?" And these are people that's in the truth, or meant to be in the truth. Yeah, but what's he going to say? "And then will I profess unto them, I knew ye not, I never knew you, Salakia. Depart from me, ye that worketh iniquity." Yeah, because what's the two greatest? Love the Most High, with all your heart, mind, and soul. And the second, it says, is like unto it. That's what people is forgetting. It's not second, it's just as important as the first. It says it is like. So if I give you a coat, or I've got on a coat, and you say, yeah, let me get one of them coats there. So if I give you one that's like onto it, I mean, it's the same. It's not no different. So love your neighbor as yourself is the same, just as important as loving the Most High. And that's what's lacking now amongst us, man. So if our people don't get ourselves right, we're going to get caught up in the judgment that's happening. But, we need to take heed of what's happening around us, man. Not everyone is your friend. We actually have enemies. So, I'm going to stop rambling on. With that, I hope this was edifying to someone. And I'm going to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Waharaka Kadash, Kwam Yasha Allah.